As a response to one I watched today from Ronnie Dahl, Four Wheeling, Australia. Ronnie is one of the people I follow on YouTube. The question he posed today is, do you want me to do a budget build? And if you want me to do a budget build, how do you define that? The problem was, he's asking for a one-line answer, or maybe two or three. He said flat out right, I don't want something long, I won't read it. Well, the purpose of this video is because I don't think you can do it in one or two or three lines or less than 100 words. There's too many variables. If you buy a cheap truck, how much are you going to spend on your cheap truck? If you buy a cheap truck, what's it going to cost you to get it so it's roadworthy? And I don't mean roadworthy to pass a licensing exam, I mean roadworthy to take it out and make it do what it has to do so you can use it as an overland vehicle. If you're looking at buying a $10,000 truck and putting another $15,000 into it for repairs, you might as well buy a more expensive truck to begin with. Am I saying go out and buy a brand new vehicle? Well, if you've got the money, go for it. I certainly don't. The other consideration is, if you're buying a brand new truck and you're buying a diesel, which is the only thing I would be looking at, does that unit require DEF? Where I'm sitting right now, they don't sell DEF. So the minute that tank runs empty and you run out of your DEF supply, you now have somewhere around $100,000 worth of paperweight because you can't move the vehicle because the engine's shut down. Now, I've been told there are places that you can go to get your computer chip reprogrammed so it'll basically eliminate the DEF, but that's not available where I am and I don't know where to go, so that's not an option I have. I am looking at buying a vehicle that's around 2006, 2007, simply because I want to make sure I don't have DEF. Where I live, they don't sell DEF. Had I brought my 2500 Dodge Ram with a 6.7 Cummins Mega Cab with me, not only would I be paying up the butt for insurance because they tax you by engine size, but they don't sell DEF. So the minute my tanks run dry, I'm dead in the water. I sold that truck to my son. If you're going to be dragging behind your vehicle a caravan or the tent, something like the one that you carry, Ronnie, or the one that Harry has, what did that cost you? I looked at the prices of what Harry's pulling, and I'm not going to post it here. You can go look for yourself. But it was a real eye-opener. It's about as much as a slide-in truck camper in North America. I have to build my own camper because you buy a standard-made camper in North America, they're 96 inches wide. Well, I've got to fit into a 90-inch hole, which means that just doesn't work. How much stuff do you have in the house that you can put in your build? That's going to influence greatly the amount of money you have to spend. The chair that I'm sitting in was my grandfather's chair. It's going with me. It's very comfortable. It'll probably be the only chair in the vehicle that's an actual chair, opposed to just a stool or the camping chairs that we all carry with us, which, by the way, I don't have. I don't have my truck right now. I'm going to have to pick that up at an auction, and that's going to run me somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 more than likely. I have seen some going for $7,500, some down as $5,000, but those are few and far between. I'm going to have to build my own camper. I'm looking at about $12,000 for aluminum, and then I have to buy the welder to use because the one I have downstairs, the duty cycle is too short, and I'll never get anything done. If you got to wait 45 minutes for the machine to cool down, you might as well buy a bigger welder because you just can't be welding for 15 minutes out of an hour. That just doesn't work. Again, how much stuff are you taking with you? The background music you're listening to is Shingo Nakamura live from Tokyo, and it's being played out through my Paradigm Speaker system, I have a complete 5-system surround sound plus 4 sets of bookshelf speakers. My surround sound unit and the big Harman Kardon, that's the main driving amp, are going to be going with me. There again, that's stuff that I have, but if you've got to buy a sound system for your camper, how much is that going to cost you? How much money you spend depends on what you want to do, yes. I have a 2,000 watt induction cooker downstairs. It's only been used about 20 times. I'll be taking that with you. I have a 3,000 watt inverter. If I want to have a shower, I need to be carrying a generator because my inverter will not run a 3,600 watt on-demand hot water heater. It can take 6,000 watts of pulse, yes, but I don't want to run the only inverter I have flat out all the time if I'm having a shower. My sink tap set has a built-in heater that runs 3,000 watts. That means while I'm doing dishes, I'm running my inverter at max. I don't particularly like to do that all the time. So, what are you building? How luxurious do you need it to do? I have a complete kitchen here. I was supposed to be building my dream home. Well, that plan has changed, and because it's changed, I'm going overlanding now. Does that mean I take the brand new kitchen that I have down the other side of that door and put it in my truck? Absolutely not. Weighs too much. All I'm taking is a plastic shelving unit that's 36 inches long, 24 inches wide, 74 inches high. And a clothes bar and some of my IKEA storage facility things. The fold down bags and some of the shelves that were supposed to be for the walk-in closet for my former partner. I'm recycling what I can. I put a video up the other day suggesting everybody get rid of their 110 volt equipment and go 220 because 220 uses less power out of your batteries. For those that are watching this in Australia and Europe, stay with your 220, you're better off. Those in North America, change to 220 if you can. I am not running propane. If you're going global, running propane is a pain in the butt getting the fittings for your tanks. And if you don't believe me, ask the guys that run as Grizzly and Bear, because they've done that for that reason, and so have a lot of the other people I've been following on YouTube. Propane also produces a lot of condensation when you burn it. I had propane in a slide-in camper. You get out in the cold and you turn on your propane heater, yes, you're warm, but you end up with condensation all over your walls, and who needs that? I don't. That's why I have a diesel heater. So how much are you going to spend on your build? I figure my build will come in around $100,000, and that's a very low estimate. How much is it going to cost you for a rear locker? How much is it going to cost you for a front locker? Are you going to run both lockers? Now, if I get my 5500 series truck, and why I want a heavier truck is because of the GWVR. A Hilux can only hold 1,700 pounds. And after that, you're going to have to get it re-rated, and you're going to have to redo all the suspension because it's not designed to carry that. I don't know if the frame can handle the load. A 79 series definitely can. A Hilux is going to get you better gas mileage than the 79 series will. But the 79 series will do things the Hilux can't. I'm looking at a bigger truck because I don't want to have to spend the money in suspension upgrades that the heavier truck already has done to it. That's a consideration. That's a cost. How much is your budget build going to be? What are you doing with your vehicle? If you're going to be going rock crawling, you're going to do something like Moab in Utah, you're definitely not taking Project Hilux over those roads. I don't even want to think you want to take the 79. There again, if you're building a ute and you're pulling a trailer, That's a horse of a different color, and there's a whole lot of complications that go with pulling a trailer. And if you haven't pulled a trailer before, that's a very steep learning curve. Trailers are not the easiest thing to handle. Backing up is a pain in the butt, and if they decide they're going to start fishtailing, controlling that is another thing you've got to get used to doing. I've had to do that before. So answering a budget build in 20 words or less just isn't going to cut it. You've got to redefine your priorities. What do I have in the house that I can take with me? What do I really need? What can I build myself? What do I have to farm out? If I have to do suspension work, other than installing a set of airbags, I've had airbags in my 78 Ford. There's a sliding camper that I had. They put all of the heavy stuff all on one side. Now the water tank was at the front, but the fridge, the stove, the dual propane tanks, and the heating unit were all built on one side of the truck, and it wanted to lean a lot, so I ended up putting in a set of airbags. I'll run airbags again. Not as an airbags full suspension. I'll be running airbags and springs. But I will have airbags in there basically as a helper to keep the truck level. You can't answer how much do you want to spend in a budget build by saying, I want to spend $25,000. Because $25,000 isn't going to get you very much. $50,000 isn't going to get you very much. I'm looking at a red winch, and my winch is 16,500 pounds. I got a heavy vehicle, I need a bigger winch. That winch is going to set me back around 5,000 Canadian dollars. That's a big chunk of change. I have no idea what it's going to cost me for a rear locker. But I want to put in a rear locker at least. I might run without a front one. I'm kind of leaning that way. Rear locker and winch versus rear locker, front locker, and no winch, because that's my options. I'm not made of money, so I have to watch every penny I spend. Right now, I don't own the truck. I haven't got the camper. I don't have the right welder, and I spent 15,000 Canadian dollars, and I'm still adding to the list of things that I have to do to get that truck set up ready to go. I have no idea what I'm going to be paying for a bull bar. I don't have my lights. Now, the lights that I do own are not what I consider lights that are good enough to stake my life on. You're going to want a good set of spots. I want to run a set of pillars right where the windshield comes down. I want to drop 2 cubes up there. I want a set of lights down below. I'm not running a light up on my roof rack. I built my own roof rack, and I want to thank Ronnie Dahl for that, because the information that he has given me has changed greatly my perception of what I'm going to do. Now here in Malaysia, it's very, very hot all the time. So the truckers have an actual, like a rubberized canvas tarp that they put over their trucks. I've got one made for my roof rack, so I'll be carrying mine fairly covered. I can't see you doing a build for less than 100 grand, and that's all in. If you can do it, fine, but I don't see how really you're going to put together an overland vehicle for less than that. You can probably get away with some really cheap stuff if you're only going to go out for a weekend. But I'm looking at this as a truck you can live in. If you're going to build a vehicle, build a vehicle. Don't go halfway. And with that, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening.